Yet again, it's time for some side deck videos with YGOSmurf. My previous video, which is side decking 1250, was the start kickoff to how to actually side deck in a competitive manner. This video will be adding onto that with the next stage. In the first video I talked about picking the decks you're going to want to counter. In this one, like the name implies, we're going to be picking the quantities as well as the specific cards that you're going to want to use in order to counter the decks you picked. Jumping right into it. Dividing a 15 card side deck to counter a few decks can sometimes be tricky. The biggest thing is watching out that you don't overside for one deck and underside for another, meaning you only put in one card to counter against something you really need a lot of counters for, and siding in 5 things for a deck that you kind of can handle without even siding at all. Tips to help you decide the quantities of the counters that you want. You need to consider the frequency of a deck that you're going to face. If your deck has a really bad matchup against one specific deck, but no one's playing that deck, you shouldn't feel threatened by it or feel a need to side 5 cards to help you win that match, because the chances are you won't even see that match. For frequently hard matches against your deck, you should be looking at 4 or 5 cards for each of those matches to put into your side deck. For a frequently easy match, you'll want to think about 1 or 2 cards. Just because a match is easy for you to win without siding doesn't mean that you shouldn't side anything in. Siding in things will still help you even that little bit more to lean the win in your favor. Another tip is that don't expect to be countering decks with more than 5 cards. The cards in your main deck are important, and it'll be increasingly hard for each 1 extra card to find a rotation for it. And the final tip, siding can always help. I kind of mentioned that in the matches that you are frequently winning against. Even if you should be fine against a certain deck, don't feel afraid to throw in a couple sides for it. So now that you have the tips for picking the quantities for your counters, you'll actually need to pick your specific counters. In order to do that, you need to know 3 main strategies. And I say strategies instead of specific cards because when it comes down to it, this video is about teaching and about you learning. So I want to give you the basis of how cards are picked for which decks. Strategy number 1. Eliminating a problem is preferable to stalling a problem. This can be seen in the case of GB Hunter in Legendary Jiu-Jitsu Master. With GB Hunter, it stops your opponent's Gladiator Beast from tagging out and getting a new Gladiator Beast, as well as surviving attack. While Legendary Master survives the attack and returns that monster to the top of your opponent's deck. So that way your opponent doesn't have a monster on board anymore. That Legendary Master is getting rid of a problem rather than delaying that problem. Strategy number 2. Mini cards can be very effective against multiple different strategies, such as Effect Veiler, DD Crow, and Dust Tornado. Strategy number 3. Diversity is helpful. You don't want to bog down your deck with multiple cards that only stop one aspect of your opponent's strategy. It doesn't help you increase your odds of stopping something, or it just doesn't help you increase your odds of winning. Now that you know the 3 strategies to pick cards for your side deck, I'm going to be giving you a resource to actually help yourself and others find specific side deck cards for specific decks. Like I said, I wanted to make sure that you knew the core underlying values of which cards to pick, but let's be honest, not everyone's got time for that, not everyone has the knowledge for that. So what you'll do is you'll go to google.com. In the search bar, you will be typing in Pojo side deck thread, and behind that you will insert the current form. At the time of making this video, I would be typing in July 2014, and Google will spit out that, and the first result should be the correct link. Now that you have the tips for picking the quantities and the strategies for picking your cards, you should be able to build an ultimate side deck of mastery awesomeness. However, having the side deck is just one aspect of side decking. You also have to figure out a game plan. a strategy. What are you going to side out of your main deck for the cards that you're siding in? But that's for next time. Have a wonderful day, guys. Have any other resources for finding side deck cards out there other than my suggested Pojo forums? Go ahead and leave them in the comments below for me, for you, and for other people to collect this giant resource that will help out everyone. Don't forget to like, comment, and share. Subscribe if you deem me worthy.